Hi, my name is Marta Boffito and I'm talking about the HIV over 50 clinic that we run in London in the United Kingdom. So as you are well aware, comorbidities are prevalent among aging people living with HIV, and studies have shown that people living with HIV are at a higher risk of certain comorbidities compared to people without HIV. And that is especially true when people age and get older. And this was a study a cohort study that showed that quite clearly. Importantly, the high number of comorbidities that may affect people living with HIV who are aging leads to the use of polypharmacy. Polypharmacy, in fact, is particularly prevalent in older people living with HIV. Polypharmacy means being on 5 or more drugs. Important polypharmacy means being on 10 or more drugs. And the reason why this is important is because when someone is on polypharmacy, is at a higher risk of drug toxicity and drug-drug interactions. This slide shows a long list of studies that have reported high prevalence of polypharmacy in people aging with HIV in different countries in Europe, in the world. So in terms of polypharmacy and risk for drug-drug interactions in people aging with HIV, not too long ago, we published a sub-analysis of the POPI study, which is a cohort study looking at health outcomes in people aging with HIV, in people younger than 50 with HIV, and people aging without HIV. We saw that people with HIV who are aging are at a higher risk for, again, polypharmacy and drug-drug interactions. And this is also true when we exclude the antiretrovirals from the drug combination. So the higher risk of drug-drug interactions occurs also between the different co-medications. And this is quite important because it's something that we have to watch in clinical practice. So what do we do in our over 50 clinic? In 2009, we started to run this clinic dedicated to people above the age of 50 living with HIV. And we started to offer, first of all, more time where we could discuss particular health matters, health concerns, and we would offer a few extra tests. So because what we discussed about polypharmacy and drug-drug interactions, we do review co-medications very carefully in the over 50 clinics. Anything that is prescribed by us, so obviously HIV medications, and the potential of the antiretrovirals to be prescribed to be interactive drug, to cause drug-drug interactions. We look at anything else that is prescribed, over-the-counter medication, herbal, recreational drugs, and amount of alcohols. And again, we review drug-drug interactions very carefully. So we recently published some data from our over 50 clinic looking at the anticholinergic risk, which is something that is looked at in aging people without HIV, but it wasn't really ever discussed in people living with HIV. And obviously, the increasing anticholinergic drug exposure increased the risk of side effects. And also, using boosters like ritonavir may increase the exposure of certain anticholinergic drugs, leading to an increase of the anticholinergic risk. So this is something that is worth reviewing carefully in people aging with HIV. We also offer extra blood tests. We look at testosterone, total testosterone, free testosterone, and when these are low, we spend more time looking at cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, fatigue, mental health. We link our over 50 clinic to many other specialist clinics. So we have, for example, a menopause clinic for women aging with HIV. So we send them from the over 50 clinic to the menopause clinic. And also in terms of trans, non-binary and other genders, we discuss symptomatology, drug interactions, and we refer them if there's a need for that. We test for PSA, we make sure that people have an anal smear when possible, and we ensure that the mammography is done. People living with HIV sometimes are quite attached to HIV care providers and may not attend primary care or other specialties, so this is all discussed in the over 50 clinic. Also, in view of the fact that people living with HIV seems to be diagnosed with cancer at an earlier age than people without HIV, and this has been shown to be true for different cancers. We focus on cardiovascular risk, and we do measure cardiovascular risk with equations like Q-risk-2 or Q-risk-3 or Framingham, and we do request a coronary artery calcification score. We do work on reducing traditional cardiovascular disease risk factors. These have been shown to actually be really important, not only in people without HIV, but also in people with HIV. So reducing blood pressure, reducing cholesterol, smoking cessations are discussions that we have, an intervention that we like to promote very much. Also, we do promote lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, healthy diet, exercise, and we link the over 50 clinic to our metabolic clinic, to our physiotherapists and dietitians, and we like to prescribe exercise and make sure that people understand the importance of healthy lifestyles to decrease cardiovascular risk. In terms of coronary artery calcification score, when this is high, we do take it into consideration remarkably. We recently published the analysis of the relationship between the conventional risk scores and coronary artery calcification scores in people living with HIV. And we show that some people might benefit from a statin because they have a high coronary artery calcification score, but they do have a low Q-risk-2 result, or vice versa. So it is an additional tool to analyze the heart health of people that we found very useful in aging people with HIV. And we have a specialist HIV cardiology clinic that we refer people with high results, with high CACS, that again are reviewed by the cardiologist. Importantly, we look at bones. We request bone mineral density scans. We measure FRAX scores and vitamin D. Data in the literature show that people living with HIV are at an increased risk of low bone mineral density and fractures. This is true both for males and females. It can be affected by past HIV treatment, and it's increasing with age. We follow the EACS guidelines in terms of when to request a BMD, a bone mineral density. So we do request it in postmenopausal women and men above the age of 50. And again, we measure the FRAX score to understand whether people need the treatment based on the results of the bone scan. We have a frailty clinic, a care of the elderly clinic that is run by the general medicine consultant and the HIV consultant. And in the care of the elderly HIV clinic, we also assess frailty and management of frailty and other comorbidities, including osteoporosis. Finally, we look at how people are from a mental health point of view and a social situation point of view. Isolation can be an important concern in people aging with HIV, has been an important concern over the COVID-19 pandemic. So we ask people about their social situation. We ask them if they're concerned about their memory, concentrations, cognitions, and whether anybody else has expressed any concern about their memory, concentration, and cognition. If the answer is yes, we give them questionnaires, a depression questionnaire and an anxiety questionnaire and an everyday memory questionnaire to see whether we need to further refer to psychology, to neuropsychometric testing, or to the HIV and neurology clinic. So in conclusion, this was our experience of an over 50 clinic that is dedicated to people living with HIV in London. And as you can see, it's a bit of an extra screening for people who are aging with HIV. And it allows us to refer to certain key specialist clinics that people may need because of comorbidities and HIV. We also undergo some regular audits, service evaluations, patients' feedbacks, and publications, as you've seen in the presentations. The next step is to make sure that all staff is actually trained and is able to run the model of the clinic, in general, HIV clinic, when they see people over the age of 50, so that referrals to the specialist clinics come from all physicians, all care providers that, again, deliver HIV care. And this will help us, again, especially in difficult times like during the COVID pandemic, where the way we run clinics has changed remarkably. Thank you very much for your attention.